Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Ricky Camilleri. Actor Mads Mikkelsen is one of the great actors working right now. He's the man behind roles like Hannibal, the show. There's some fans here. The Pusher films, Rogue One, The Hunt, just so many great projects. In his new film, Polar, he's teamed up with the great director Jonas Åkerlund for a wild, visually insane, violent, and hilarious hitman movie that, for folks who loved Åkerlund's Spun in 2001, I think they're going to be very happy with this. Let's take a look.
I like it here. It makes me peaceful.
Me too.
You're not from around here, are you?
No, I'm retired.
What was your job?
I was in the funeral business.
Huh.
As you know, we manage the investments of our employees. If a former agent dies after retirement, their $8 million goes back to the company.
This is a bad idea.
Bang. Where the hell is he? Somebody set me up over here. You better pray you have nothing to do with it.
You tried to kill the Black Kaiser.
And kidnap his cute little neighbor.
We should him so we don't have to look over our shoulder for the rest of our lives.
You'll need all of it.
Try not to be scared. You make mistakes when you're afraid.
Thought you stopped smoking.
Figured it wouldn't kill me.
Why are you doing this?
I like him.
You're not a good man. But you're doing a good thing.
Did you happen to see anything peculiar the past couple days?
No.
Everybody, please welcome Mads Mikkelsen and Jonas Åkerlund. You got some fans in the audience.
What's that?
You got some fans in the audience.
Yeah, those are our fans, the Fannibles, as far as I can tell.
Guys, congratulations on this crazy, crazy movie. I don't think a Hitman movie really exists like it. I know it's based on a graphic novel, but it really feels like you take all the other Hitman movies, take a few hits of acid, throw them in a blender, and then go crazy. What was it like on set making this? I mean, did you just have the volume turned up to 11 for most of the scenes? It was kind of like, this is what's on paper, let's take it as far as we can?
Yeah, pretty much. We knew from the beginning, based on Victor Santos' amazing graphic novel, we knew that everything was going to be pushed to 11. So that's kind of like where we started. But it was a pretty long journey to get there, developing the script and the character and all that stuff. So yeah.
How long have you been attached to it and developing it and figuring it out?
Everything happened pretty fast, actually. I got the graphic novel about 2 years ago. We met about a year and a half ago, and we shot it a year ago. So everything happened pretty fast on this one.
Wow. Mads, what made you want to take on this role?
The money. No, I was a big fan of the graphic novels, as we call them over there in Europe, and I'm a massive graphic novel fan in general. I thought there was just the simplicity of this black and red and white colors, and the brutality was grotesque. It was a lot of things, and then I met up with this guy, and his idea was completely outrageous, crazy, and I thought, this is a good match. Let's rock and roll, and that's what we did.
Are you a fan of doing things that are kind of outrageous and crazy and over the top?
I'm a fan of thinking about doing it and writing it and the idea of doing it. But when I'm standing there in -15 with no clothes on, I'm not a fan. I always regret it. Every time. Yeah, we come up with crazy ideas. We're sitting in a nice warm room and then this happens. And he's naked in the snow.
Like, oh, why can't I just do a sitcom?
No, but it's
or
good
something?
when we come up with it. And then when we stand there in the freezing cold, I just want to kill him. But I tend to be drawn to some kind of radical stories and radical people.
Jonas, the visual style of this film it's so crazy. I mean, you open with this incredibly colorful scene where every color is just popping through the screen, and then you sort of change it completely when we go into the cold weather. What was it like sort of crafting that and coming up with those ideas and being like, I'm going to go from one drastic visual idea to another one?
Well, it kind of follows the story a little bit because it's basically like two parallel stories, and eventually they kind of like meet as the story goes. And I wanted to make a point out of it in how we executed it. So the world that Duncan is leaving behind is very colorful and noisy, and there's a lot rich. And then the new world that he's trying to adapt into is more muted and slower, and so it's kind of it was a point to it to help the story, and we took advantage of that. And then eventually it becomes like the craziness meets. And also we're doing a graphic novel, and again, Victor Santos' book is very graphic. Not much colors and not much dialogue. So obviously we had to make our own polar look for the movies. So we tried to make our own look, find our DNA.
Yeah, the really colorful stuff feels very reminiscent of your music video. Some of your music videos, it feels like it's popping off the screen the way that music videos do. Do you feel like your years of doing music videos have kind of always helped you or given you inspiration for how you can handle movies?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I always, fall back to my chunk of work, but in this case, I took advantage of it a lot in the action sequences. My approach was very much like when we shoot choreography with dancers. So our stuntmen were the dancers, and Mads were my star, and I kind of like did your typical coverage that I would do on a music video. Oh wow! Yeah.
Mads, what is it like playing what I think is kind of the grounded character in an otherwise not grounded world at all?
I mean, there are two different worlds here, right? As you said, there's the crazy volume is 12, 11, high-paced, chasing him, who's now spending time in the other world where it's like, let's say it's a Woody Allen pace. Not a lot is happening. Dialogue is awkward. The people are awkward. But we kind of like them together. We like to see them like that. So there's an irony of us being, there's a suspense of them chasing, closing in on these two people. And we don't want to see it at the same time. So we also know that this character, he feels much more at home in that world. So we can't wait to see what happens when they clash, right?
Right. As soon as he gets into that other world, he's just going to be taking everything apart.
That's what he does for a living. Yeah.
You're often cast as villains or I think severe characters. Mm-hmm. Where do you think that comes from? Do you think that comes from people having seen you do that before in a lot of ways? Because you can play a lot. I mean, in The Hunt, for instance, you are not that, and it's an incredible performance.
Right. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's from, people get inspired from what they see. I mean, I have been lucky that people have seen me with different eyes. So a lot of the body of work I've done back in Europe or in Denmark has been quite different from the work I've been doing in America. I think this is a very different thing for me as well to do. I mean, it's action, but he's definitely not. He's not a good guy, but he's definitely not a bad guy. It's a really interesting character, so I just see that as the next step in my life.
The actor, forgive me for forgetting his name. The actor who plays the British, I think he's mainly a comedian, a very pale.
Lucas.
Matt Lucas is amazing casting. Where did that idea come from?
Well, I had Matt in mind. I'd done another movie with Matt, and he's a dear friend of mine. And I thought about him early on for this, but it's very different from anything he's ever done before. So, it took a little work to get him there and to pull him out of his comfort zone to try this type of character was very different. I think he's doing a great job, and I think he's a fantastic actor. I don't know, you've probably seen him in Little Britain. That's where he's very known from. So
Little Britain, and I think wasn't he in Bridesmaids as well a number of years ago?
yeah, he's in
as well?
Bridesmaids.
Yeah, and there's also a great cameo by, he's briefly in the trailer, but he's got a fantastic whole scene in the movie. It's Johnny Knoxville. Yeah. I mean, I love Johnny Knoxville. I don't know, where did that idea come from?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I watched the film when it was, edited. And that was the only scene that wasn't shot at that time. We were supposed to shoot it somewhere in San Francisco or whatever, so I never saw it. So all of a sudden I saw the whole film. And it took me 5 minutes before I realized, hey, that's Johnny Knoxville.
And then he's dead.
I thought it was just some kind of a hit guy he just hired for rent. It's like, who the fuck? That was him, yeah. No, he's amazing in it, yeah. But you knew him before.
Yeah, no, same with him. I actually done a movie with him and Matt Lucas together before, so...
Which movie is that? Excuse me.
It's a movie called Small Apartments.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had them both in that movie, so I thought about Knoxville for this scene. And, so I called him and said, I have this great role for you. I'm going to kill you in the first 5 minutes of the movie, but it would be awesome if you want to do it. And he said yes. So
that seems like something he would jump at the chance to do.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. What was the toughest part about playing this character for you?
Well, obviously it's quite physical. It's quite brutal. The toughest part is that we do stunts and we hurt ourselves a little. We bruise up when we do stunts. But it's very difficult to do stunts half naked and with no shoes when it's -20 and everything is concrete and everybody else you're fighting and wearing military boots. It's just uphill, And
do you hate yourself for agreeing to do it when you were in that situation?
No, I don't have the extra energy. I don't have the extra energy to hate me. I just spend my time hating him for persuading me. Yes, I do. I mean, we know we wanted to do this, right? But it's just brutal when you spend 4 days and you have at least one more day there and you cannot get out of the bed, But it's fun, especially fun when it's done. But I also enjoy doing it. I mean, I enjoy doing it. We're little kids and we get the chance to do what we were looking at the big screen when we were little boys, right? And all of a sudden we get the chance to do it. So we suck it up, go in there and do it.
When you look at the footage in the film of you, half naked in the cold weather, do you get to see the movie for how great it is, or do you just remember those moments of freezing your balls off?
It's a kind of a mix. It's always a good sign when you forget everything about yourself and just go with the flow. But yeah, in the naked scene in the snow, it took me right back, and I wanted to kill him again. You want to see that scene now? Is that what you think? Yeah.
And here we... No, I don't have it. Jonas, what was the toughest part about making this movie for you?
Well, like Matt said, it was like a lot of technical stuff, like big things and action, a lot of people and stuff. But I think for us, the biggest challenge was to work on the story and get the emotional part of the story work. So I think that was, to me, like where we put the most focus. Shooting it, we came in so well prepared. So Mads and the other guys were like in character, so that became very technical. But working on the script and figuring out like the human part of it, the emotional part of it, was a little bit like the big challenge for me.
When you make a movie like this, which is so cranked up, do you, like in the midst of making it, do you have to worry about tone as much, or are you kind of like, we can just go as big as we want to go? Our actors can go as big as they want to go. That's the world that we've created.
I always have to trust my instincts. That's all I really have, So we just had to trust what was on the script and our instincts. And I always try to push everything a little further, And in the edit, it's like a volume control. You can basically tone it up and down as you wish, Luckily on this one, we had Netflix backing us and wanting it to go to 11. So that was like a good thing for us.
No one was going to step in and go, this is kind of strange. Like, no, make it stranger.
Yeah, well, there's always a dialogue between me and my producers, and in this case, the studio. They were the right place for this kind of movie for sure.
Master, we got talking about you freezing in this, but you have another movie right now as well called Arctic that's soon to come out, where you're again freezing in the Arctic.
Naked.
What makes you think that?
They sent me the screener.
All right. Yeah, that was cold back to back. Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah, what made you? Did that just happen, or were you like, well, I'm already going to be, I'm going to be used to it, so I might as well go for it?
These are two very, very different films. I mean, we were struggling a little with the titles that they were coming out at the same time, Arctic and Polar. I'll be surprised if there will be somebody going into the wrong movie theater.
That's not what I expected.
Yeah. So, but I mean, they're very different. So I'm chilled with that. That was just a coincidence, What was the question? Cold weather? Was that it?
Well, and Arctic is a survivalist tale,
Yeah,
right? Where
there you go.
it's mainly just you in the film trying to survive out in the cold, right?
Yeah,
What made you want to do that film?
the money again. No, I mean that was also a script that came my way like a script. Well, we had a graphic novel that inspired us, and we went rock and roll on that. This time there was a script that was just so solid when I read it. It was just every time I turned the page, I was afraid that they will fall into this survival film trap, and they never did. It was always very, very honest, very beautiful, and very poetic, and brutal. So I was just blown away with they were so radical, these two young guys, when the way they were writing it. So I was like, let's rock and roll and do it.
You said this a couple times that you had the graphic novel and the two of you sort of went off and did this whole thing. What was the collaboration like between the two of you on set, or is it when you kind of get to set, you're in character and you're the director, and you guys sort of go your separate ways as you're making it?
No, I don't stay in character. I'm not like.
Okay.
It's not that my family has to call me Duncan Vizla for 3 months. I don't work like that. I mean, we can communicate, right?
And we can also speak Swedish and Danish to each other. So we have this language that nobody understands,
Secret
which is
language.
great.
You can talk about the crew.
Yeah. We can do that
Exactly.
now, actually. We can, well.
Feel free, I'll take it, guys.
No, we have an ongoing conversation constantly. If I want to be in character, I'll just tell him, leave me alone for the next half hours. I mean, that's the way we work. But I can't stay in character all the time. Then there will be no dialogue. He will never be able to tell me, go on action, So that's, of course, we had a dialogue throughout the whole thing. And what we were trying to, which you talked about a little as well, is that it was not only the style, it was to more of these two styles together, to find the bridge between that volume 11 crazy world and that slow-paced world with two people that slowly got to meet each other, and we kind of liked them together in their awkwardness. But we needed to build a bridge between these two worlds, and that was often what we discussed, how to do that.
And what did you think of working with Vanessa Hudgens?
I loved her. I think she was. She read the story, she read her scenes, and she got him right away. She knew exactly what it was. She knew exactly what kind of fragility that took to make this character, and what kind of strength would come out of that. And I think she was spot on with everything she said.
Yeah. How did you cast her?
Well, she's been on my list for a long time, actually, wanting to do something with her. So I had her in mind early on, and had no idea how she would respond to this kind of material. But like Matt said, she read it, and when I spoke to her the first time, she just said the right things. And yeah, we just fell in love with her. She was a dream to work with. I think she's awesome.
Okay, I'm going to turn it to the audience and get some questions. I feel like they might ask questions about, their Hannibal. They just gave me this. I felt like I should wear it. Maybe join you guys. You have a question right here, right?
Hi. Firstly, I want to say that Fannibals are organizing a global polar watch. So check the tag. Fannibals are polarized. We're all going to watch at the same time on January 25th when it comes out.
Perfect.
So we're very excited. Secondly, we're all waitlisted for passes for the premiere tonight, so just so you know. And then I was going to ask, if the Black Kaiser and Hannibal were gunning for each other, who do you think would come out on top?
Oh, that's brutal.
As it were.
Right now, if it was only physical, I think the Black Kaiser will take it, right? If you're allowed to use your brain a little as well, I think Hannibal will run away with it.
Good.
Next question.
Okay, so between shooting Hannibal in Toronto and then that rainy platform in Star Wars and now Polar and Arctic, you seem to always be freezing. So I was wondering, what is the coldest set you've ever worked on in your acting career?
Well, yeah, that was actually Hannibal. We shot in -40 one day with a chill factor. And none of these characters were wearing hats, but all of a sudden we had hats. And it was a completely ridiculous scene. I'm not even sure it's in the show because we couldn't speak. It was just ridiculous.
Next question.
Yeah, so you had to do a lot of physical preparation to do Arctic, we heard. Did you have to do a lot of physical preparation to do Polar? It's a little, I mean, it's obviously very different.
Yeah, much more in Polar than in Arctic, actually. In Arctic, the guy crashes. He's not prepared for what's happening. So we didn't want me as a character being well equipped for that. We just wanted to dump me in this situation, see what happens. This one, I did need to build up a little and be able to do the stunts, so I didn't hurt myself too much. At the same time, we didn't want him to be a bodybuilder. We want him to be a man who's retiring. He's heavy, but he's lethal. Yeah.
Next question. Oh.
Hi guys, I wanted to ask you, I teach college writing, and it's really hard to kind of get 18-year-olds into reading, and graphic novels are a great entry point for that. And I wanted to maybe ask you if you'd had any experience, bringing, now that you've brought something on the graphic novel level to screen, how that can be kind of used as a teaching tool, and what you think, the benefits of that, in conjunction with film and media, and how students are so engaged in media these days.
That's you, Joe. That's me. Well, you're the graphic novel fan.
Yeah, but you're the teacher.
I'm the teacher. No, I don't know. To be honest, I'm not a huge graphic novel fan before this, but now I've actually read quite a few of them. I've been having reading and writing problems and dyslexia all my life, so filmmaking has been my way of expressing myself from day one. And I work in not my first language, and I have reading and writing problems. I always had everything against me. But filmmaking has really been a fantastic way for me to express myself, for whatever that's worth.
I think we have time for one more question right here. Hey.
Hi, this question is from Matt. You played a lot of, I guess Ricky said, like extreme characters. I would call them despicable, especially the chief. How do you leave those behind at the end of the day or at the end of filming, especially since you've been written up as being a family man?
Yeah, well, that's the same way that I don't run around being the character on set all the time. I always was a big fan of enter the character really fast and just leave him really fast. That doesn't mean that you can make scenes that is taking a toll on you. If it's quite an emotional scene and you do the same thing for an entire day, you kind of bring that emotion, that mood back home. But that's a very big difference than bringing the character back home. I'm a big fan of leaving the character out there. Stay healthy in your brain. Don't be a psychiatric patient.
Was there ever a point in your career, because oftentimes you talk to actors and they say early on when they were younger, they felt like they had to hold on to it longer?
No, I think that's really fast answer on that one. I think it's pretentious. It's something that journalists, they love to talk about it, and certain actors love to talk about it. And some of those actors who do that are great actors. Some who does that are terrible actors. So it doesn't work like that. You can be a great actor in all kind of ways to approach it. I just think it's healthy to leave it and join it as fast as you can.
There are some great actors who have no approach to craft and they're just amazing on screen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it's very hard for a lot of actors, including me, to say exactly what we do. It's like you say, it's an intuition thing. We just have to follow our gut instinct. And we might have some techniques that we don't put any words on, but it's there somewhere, right?
Guys, I love the film. Congratulations. It's airing on Netflix on the 25th. I know that the Fanables are going to be watching in group, and they're going to be polarized. Is that what you said? Hashtag polarized. Let's give Mads and Jonas a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you.